Okay. Good evening, everyone. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of all citizens to have advance notice of and attend all meetings in which public bodies, any business affecting the public is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, notice of this meeting of the Mayor and Council was published in the legal ad section in the Bergen Record on Wednesday, January 8th, 2020. Notice that this meeting is being held telephonically and streamed on YouTube was published in the Bergen Record on October 10th, 2020, and posted on the Borough website and doors to the Borough Hall. Roll call, please.
Okay, work session October 14, 2020. Mayor Dillon. Councilman Gutwetter.
Here.
Councilman Jones.
Here.
Councilman Kilman.
Here.
Councilman Verdoni.
Here.
Councilman Weber.
Here.
Councilwoman Woods. Here.
Okay. Let's stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We have approval of minutes from the September 23rd meeting. I have a motion, please.
Thank you, Council President. I make a motion to approve the minutes from September 23rd, 2020.
Second. Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Gutwetter.
Yes.
Councilman Jones.
Yes.
Councilman Kilman.
Yes.
Councilman Verdoni.
Yes.
Councilman Weber.
Abstain, I was absent that evening.
And Councilwoman Woods.
Yes.
Thank you. We have no communications for the work session. That will bring us to public comment. Anyone wishing to address the governing body, please step up to the microphone and give your name, spelling the last name, as a courtesy to all. Please speak in an audible tone and address your comments to the chair. There will be a 5-minute time limit per speaker unless reduced because of the volume of business on the agenda. Please note, public comment is your time. Out of respect and fairness to all present, there will be no interruptions or questions answered during your time. No time will be ceded to anyone else, and no time should be saved for later use. Any responses may be given during the governing body's comments later in the meeting or as directed by the chair. The Borough Clerk is the official timekeeper. Okay, we will open public comment. Anyone from the public wishing to be heard, please press *6 to unmute yourself and identify yourself for the public comment section. Okay. Again, anyone from the public wishing to be heard, please use *6 to unmute. And one final time, public comment. Anyone wishing to be heard, please unmute themselves using *6. Okay. Not hearing anyone, I will close the public comment. We have no advertised public hearing tonight for final consideration. We have the following appointments. Karen Gomez.
Yeah, let me make that.
Okay, Mayor, I'm sorry.
Mayor.
Mayor
Hi,
Dillon.
I'm appointing Karen Gomez to the Ramsey Rescue Squad as a floor member, and Jim Trout to the Office of Emergency Management.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay. That will move us to our consent resolution for the evening.
Thank you, Council President Jones. Be resolved that resolutions 160-2020 through and including 166-2020, having been considered by the governing body of the Borough of Ramsey, be and are hereby passed and approved. There are no special permits or block party requests.
I will second the motion. Are there any comments?
Yes, Council President Jones, I'd just like to comment on Resolution 162-2020, whereas October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Ramsey do hereby designate the month of October 2020 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the Borough of Ramsey.
Thank you, Councilman Gutwetter. Roll call, please, Ms. Bendian.
Councilman Gutwetter?
Yes.
Councilman Jones?
Yes.
Councilman Kilman?
Yes.
Councilman Verdoni?
Yes.
Councilman Weber?
Yes.
Councilwoman Woods?
Yes.
Okay, that will move us to our committee and liaison reports, and we'll start with Councilman Gutwetter. Mr. Vose is going to move the speaker down to him so it's easier for all to hear on the call. With Finance and Administration, Councilman Gutwetter.
Thank you, Council President Jones. As for my report, on the library board, the board will have a proclamation to honor the work of Jerry Caselli, who is retiring after 40 years of service to the library and the Ramsey community. A plaque will be created in her honor. There will be an outdoor event, in-person story time, on October 23rd, and the board is also working with the borough on a fall or winter festival-style outdoor event. Of course, mask and 6 feet social distancing will be requested. A Halloween-themed family scavenger hunt will take place between the dates of October 19th and October 31st, both inside and outside the library, and the online one-on-one tutor service is available for all Ramsey Library cardholders from 2 to 9 p.m. daily, and the tutors can also assist in writing resumes, cover letters, and job search. As to the Recreation Commission, a Halloween parade is scheduled for October 31st at 10 a.m. starting at the East parking lot, and a prepackaged Halloween bag will be provided. Waiting on a decision for rec basketball and wrestling through the Board of Education. They are reviewing bocce ball suggestions for the seniors. And lastly, the recreation opportunities for individuals and disabilities application for funds for the Challenger and Wright programs is in the completion stages. That's all I have for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Gutwetter. Public Safety, Councilman Weber.
Thank you, Council President Jones. Again, we're kind of stymied with the amount of activities and meetings that we can have, but I do want to take my hat off to the Environmental Commission and the Green Team. Very, very productive online meeting last night. A lot of items were discussed. Among those were the Sustainable Jersey Initiative, which the efforts continue to accumulate and submit all the points required to maintain our bronze status and to continue looking into additional points that might get us to the silver status, which is very, very difficult to attain. Also at that meeting, we had an update. The Boy Scouts continue to work on cleaning the invasive growth on the some of the bike paths in town. We're working with an organization to do styrofoam collection. The Timer's been heading up that issue in that effort, and we're looking to try to get some dates in December and January where the styrofoam will be collected. We may use the pool parking lot as an accumulation point for pickup. More details on that will be coming out soon. We also had Liam Curran, who was a Boy Scout in town working on his Eagle Scout project for adopting storm drains. He's been working with our borough engineer, borough administrator, and there's still some work to go on that, so he'll be keeping us updated on his progress. I also wanted to mention Resolution 164, the adoption of the Royd grants, the recreational opportunities for individuals with disabilities. As you know, I do a lot with the Challenger program, and we are certainly in need of upgraded equipment. We didn't have the basketball season or the softball season, and I know that we were looking into purchasing equipment for both of those sports, and our soccer balls we've gotten most of the useful life out of those that we can. So this is a much welcome bit of news with the incoming grant, or the impending grant. Finally, I just want to congratulate Karen Gomez and Jim Trout on their appointments, and that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Weber. Building, Planning, and Zoning, Councilman Verdoni.
Thank you, Council President Jones. The planning board, I have no report. The planning board does not have any applications for review. Ramsey Seniors Senior Center. Ramsey Seniors continue to do well with Zoom virtual classes. Though they statewide. On October 1st, the Ramsey seniors began play on the new bocce courts adjacent to the new senior center while practicing social distancing. The regular players are all very happy with the courts and are looking forward to many, many years of bocce games and tournaments. The VFW Post will be conducting their annual poppy sale fundraiser starting tomorrow, October 15th to November 30th. Sales locations include ShopRite, Uncle Giuseppe's, Village Stationers, Bottle King, Lotito's, Walgreens, Ramsey Gourmet, Ramsey Hardware, Ramsey Post Office, and La Gondola Restaurant. Ramsey Responds continues to serve Ramsey families in need by providing food and financial assistance. The needs and efforts are ongoing, and donations are always needed. Food donations are accepted every Tuesday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. at St. Paul's Church, and financial donations can be sent to Ramsey Responds, P.O. Box 724, Ramsey, New Jersey. I want to congratulate Karen Gomez on her position on the Ramsey Rescue Squad, and congratulations to Jim Troff on his position in the Office of Emergency Management. Thank you both for your service to our community. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Verdoni. Next, we have Utilities, Buildings, and Grounds with Councilman Kilman.
Thank you, Council President. I also would like to congratulate Karen Gomez and Jim Trout on their appointments. My report tonight is rather short simply because of the timing of this meeting, but I do want to alert people to the upcoming meetings. The Shade Tree Commission is meeting tomorrow evening, Thursday the 15th. This coming Monday the 19th, the Board of Public Works will be meeting, and next week also on Wednesday the 21st, the Zoning Board will be meeting. So following those meetings, I should have more to report at our next meeting. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Kilman. Next up, Public and Governmental Relations, my report. I would just first off welcome Karen and James to our first responder groups and thank them for their service. The farmers market continues, and as I mentioned last month, will continue throughout the year outdoors for the rest of the 2020 and beyond. The vendors and the Nancy Boone and her team are excited to have the opportunity to continue, albeit outdoors where we may have some weather issues, but the consideration for a much safer operation in an outdoor environment during the pandemic would be first and foremost to keep our vendors and patrons of the farmers market safe and continue outdoors for the foreseeable future. The volunteer night is 2 weeks from tonight, October 28th. We are going to, after a great deal of deliberation and consideration and discussion, we are going to move our meeting to start at 6 p.m. that night to allow for the volunteer recognition ceremony later that evening. We will be moving from the council chambers down to the community center, and we will utilize the community center for our volunteer recognition. We will have greater detail for those participants. We're going to ask that each organization sends a little snip or blurb of information and accomplishments that one of the members of the governing body, the mayor or myself, will read for each participant that night to limit how many people would be coming out, and we will be staging and social distancing groups based on our nonprofits, our first responders, emergency services, and the various recreational and sports programs into 3 separate groups and bringing them in in 3 different intervals over the course of the evening to maintain a manageable number, and we figured that's the safest and best way to do it, and we look forward to that evening. It's always a highlight of our year. It'll be a little different but more details will follow to those participants, and we look forward to that 2 weeks from tonight. So for all of those you listening and watching this evening, our meeting on the 28th, council meeting will start at 6 p.m. And I just wanted to let everyone know that for that point in time. Councilwoman Woods, I will hand you back the microphone here. You can take that. I have nothing else at this time.
Thank you, Council President Jones. Thank you. The Board of Health meeting was held Thursday, October 8th, and Chairwoman Tammy Azuri asked everyone to consider the chairman position as she was stepping down in January, or she will be stepping down in January. There is nothing new on the mandatory vaccine legislation, but the marijuana referendum at the state level was discussed because that's on the ballot. Members were disappointed because of all the hard work they have done on reducing vaping and smoking in our younger population. Ramsey is holding a flu clinic on October, I believe it's the 22nd, 9:30 to 12:30 at Finch Park.
It was going to be at the pool parking lot.
Pardon me, I was wrong. At the pool parking lot. Okay, thank you. And the rabies clinic will hopefully be held in January, and they're talking about a drive-through setup at Finch Park. Yes? Okay. The Healthy Bones program on Zoom had 25 people participate last week and has been very good and will continue. There have been spot inspections at some establishments. New York Sports Club is now changing into Fountain Fitness, and everything seems well planned and well organized there. One establishment was cited for not wearing masks and not social distancing their dining tables. 3 dogs were quarantined, and there was 1 incident of chicken fighting reported. And there were 5 marriage licenses, which is happy news. The ambulance groups reported that they had a drop in calls. Normally they do 100 calls per month, and now they're averaging about 10. So that is also encouraging. On to the Ramsey Board of Education. The Ramsey Board of Education held a lengthy meeting on September 29th, ending close to 11:30 p.m. The meeting was held at the high school in the cafeteria and on YouTube, but there were so many in attendance, they had to set up an overflow area in the gym. Superintendent Dr. Murphy gave a report clarifying his position on the new state-mandated diversity, equity, and inclusion curriculum and a book he suggested. There were lots of comments and questions from the public at this meeting. The public saw 5 highly qualified candidates interview for the open position on the board vacated by Nicholas Schifano. Near the end of the meeting, the board voted in past board member David Rockefeller. Since the board meeting, the school district has experienced some COVID cases. There were 4 new COVID cases reported on October 12th. 3 were in Hubbard and 1 was in Smith, but those schools will remain open based on the current guidelines. The high school had 2 different cases within 14 days that could not be fully connected, so that led to the high school moving to all remote learning for 14 days. And I would also, there's nothing new for the design review board at this time, and I also would like to congratulate Karen Gomez and James Charles for serving Ramsey. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Woods. We now will move on to Mayor Dillon's report.
Oh, thank you. Congratulations and thank you to Karen Gomez and James House. Always appreciate when people volunteer their time and their skills to help the borough. I want to let everybody know that despite an earlier spike in positive COVID test results earlier this week, there were no new COVID cases yesterday or today that were reported. That's good. That's good news. The 2020 census is open until 6 a.m. this Friday morning. If you have not already done so, you can respond to the census by going to 2020census.gov, or you can call 844-330-2020 in English, 844-468-2020 in Spanish. The borough, along with the county, will be hosting a COVID-19 testing and flu shot event on October 28th at the Main Street train station. Please check the borough website for more information as we get closer to that date. And of course, I will include it in a swift reach. Just as a reminder, pursuant to the Governor's Executive Order 177, the November 3rd general election is primarily vote by mail. If you show up at the high school and you want to fill out to vote, you will only be given a provisional paper ballot, which will not be counted for 7 days after the election. The only people who are allowed to use voting machines on November 3rd are the disabled, blind, or illiterate. So we encourage people to fill out their ballots and put them in the secure drop-off box that's behind the library on Wyckoff Avenue. And that's all I have. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mayor Dillon. We will now move on to our Borough Administrator report. Mr. Vosay.
Thank you, Council President. Just a couple things to touch on tonight. I know Councilman Gutwetter and Councilman Weber talked about the Roy grant the borough is applying for. I also highlight Resolution 163, which talks about a Chapter 159 special revenue item. The borough received the grant subsequent to the 2020 budget adoption date, which then by law, in order to use it this calendar year, the governing body needs to pass a resolution to insert this special revenue item into the budget under Chapter 159 of the state code. This is being done through this resolution. It's a grant that we received in an amount of $33,143.78. It was received under the Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program and will be utilized for PP&E for the fire department with direct offsetting expenses. So thank you to the fire department and all those involved in the application process and gaining that to obviously get us needed PP&E and mitigating taxpayer costs for that. The other thing I'd like to just mention tonight is there was a Girl Scout Silver Award project that took place subsequent to the last meeting. Haley Thompson, a Girl Scout in town, had met with Mayor Dillon about a project for her Silver Award. After their meeting, Haley settled on and proposed a project to provide a facelift to the Passive Park area on Grove Street and Allison Way, where the memorial to Gretchen Dater and those lost in the 1988 Pan Am Flight 103 bombing over Lockerbie, Scotland. Kelly met with DPW Superintendent Jack D'Agostero, Assistant Superintendent for Buildings and Grounds Bob Bono, and myself. We worked through the plan and support the borough could provide with materials for the project. Haley did an outstanding job in arranging everything and bringing her troop together to improve this park area. We are thankful Haley chose this area for her project as the Dater family has been such an integral part of Ramsey's history. The Scouts' work on this passive park and its memorial to the tragic loss of Gretchen and the Pan Am 103 victims is greatly appreciated by our community. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Vosay. Borough Attorney, Mr. Sandariano.
Nothing, thank you, sir.
All right, Borough Clerk, Ms. Bendian.
Nothing, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Will bring us to, we have no introduction of ordinances this evening. We have no unfinished business listed on the agenda that I am aware of. Does anyone have any new business to be brought up this evening? Not seeing any, we'll call for adjournment. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn.
Right, good night, y'all. Take care. To start conference recording, press 1. The recording has...
Is that-
You ever